Movie recap: The Lantern of the Drowned. The coastal town of Greyhaven is a place where the sea whispers secrets and the fog never fully lifts. Its people live in quiet fear of the ocean, offering silent prayers to forgotten gods whenever the tides rise too high. At the heart of the town stands an ancient lighthouse, long abandoned, its beacon extinguished for reasons no one dares to speak of. Legends tell of the Lantern of the Drowned, an artifact hidden within the lighthouse that is said to hold the souls of those claimed by the sea. Clara Morgan, a marine biologist grieving the recent loss of her brother to a shipwreck, arrives in Greyhaven hoping to understand the town's superstitions. She is drawn to the lighthouse, where she begins hearing faint, sorrowful voices whenever she lingers near its rusted doors. Despite warnings from the townsfolk, particularly an enigmatic fisherman named Elias, Clara decides to investigate. What she finds inside the lighthouse is far more than she ever imagined. The lighthouse is a maze of twisting staircases, damp stone walls, and unnatural darkness. As Clara ventures deeper, she begins to see ghostly figures reflected in the cracked glass of the lantern room. These are the drowned, spectral remnants of sailors and fishermen who perished at sea. They are bound to the lantern, their voices pleading for release, their forms flickering like the dying light of the sea. Elias reveals the truth about the lantern. It is not just an artifact, but a fragment of an ancient power, crafted by the Tideborn, godlike beings who once ruled the ocean's depths. The lantern was their way of capturing and controlling the souls of the drowned, feeding off their despair to sustain their own existence. When humanity turned away from the Tideborn, the lantern's light was extinguished, trapping the drowned between life and death. As Clara delves further, she begins to experience visions of the Tideborn, colossal, otherworldly figures with eyes like whirlpools and voices that resonate like crashing waves. They whisper to her, promising to return her brother if she reignites the lantern and restores their dominion over the seas. Torn between her longing and the warnings of Elias, Clara struggles to resist their call. The town begins to change as the lantern stirs to life. The fog grows thicker, the tides rise higher, and the townsfolk succumb to strange, dreamlike trances. The drowned become more active, their forms solidifying, and their whispers growing louder. Clara discovers that the lantern is not merely a prison, but a doorway to the Tideborn's realm, and reigniting it will unleash their full power upon the world. In the climactic confrontation, Clara must decide whether to destroy the lantern, condemning the drowned to eternal torment, or restore its light, risking the return of the Tideborn. The ghosts of her brother and others lost to the sea beg her for release, their voices filled with both hope and desperation. Clara ultimately sacrifices her own connection to the lantern, using a fragment of her soul to sever its link to the Tideborn forever. The lantern shatters in a blinding flash of light, and the drowned are freed, their forms dissolving into the mist as the Tideborn's voices fade into silence. The lighthouse collapses into the sea, taking with it the last remnants of the ancient gods. Clara emerges from the wreckage forever changed, her eyes carrying a faint, otherworldly glow. The movie ends with Clara standing on the shores of Greyhaven, staring at the calm waves as the first rays of sunlight pierce the fog. In the distance, the faint hum of the ocean lingers, a reminder that some powers are never truly gone. The screen fades to black with the final line. The sea remembers what we choose to forget.